Welcome to Hardcourt Hunnies, where we take our full court NBA hottest takes, and we got featuring Jade and Penny with your moderator TJ, who will just try to keep control with these two while we go with our takes.
So let's hear this.
My first big hosting gig as a ESPN employee was the 1998 NBA All-Star Game. Madison Square Garden. I'm the brand new full-time host of NBA Tonight. That's how I used to say it. And finest highlight show in your lifetime. I guarantee. Go find some old clips of my porn stash, my Cuban curly hair that I bought from WSBN, okay? So I got my high top fade from Ohio, the Cubano curl in it.
Cubano curl.
And I took it to Connecticut and I rocked that sucker for 7 years.
But I'm sure you did.
Yes, ma'am. So that first gig, I'm so fired up. Had one of my little tailored suits on. Had a banded collar, right? Because it was the ESPN number 2 with the small cap, small little.
Oh,
yeah.
Squiggly, like it was graffiti days.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I wore a lot of chambray shirts, a lot of branded collars and vests. It was ridiculous. Anyway. KG couldn't have been more wonderful. Year 2, right? Probably season 2 or 3.
Yep.
He was an all-star, one of his, 5,000 all-star appearances.
Yep.
And then something happened. I don't know what happened over the years. And he came off funky, right? Because he was just upset all the time. And I thought that was just his drive, his grind. I thought that's just how he played. That he had to cuss all the time and he had to scowl, right?
Oh, yeah. And the yell.
The big 3 Celtics put us out at least, Coach Sweat, at least twice, right?
Yeah.
Like back-to-back years. And by the way, you got to thank them because that's what created the big 3 for us. Nobody could get through Toronto, Cleveland, or Miami.
Oh, don't get Jade on Toronto.
So with all that being said, I get into this ignorant, baseless, useless argument of Kevin Garnett not being, well, at least having a debate that he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, Jason.
You guys put this with video? You guys did it? So here I am, a respected member of NBA media. I have been covering the NBA since 1997.
Yeah.
I sounded like a bleeping idiot. Because I was really just debate, and I got called. My partner Amin El Hassan over on NBA radio got indignant. So your face, okay, Taylor, he put into words and made me so mad that I was talking about quitting the show live. You're not going to tell me I can't debate different, And so then I didn't look at anything, right? So I'm just dealing with my sensibility of why does KG have to be so upset and so difficult, and like in interviews always cussing on the microphone, can't use it. Like, so just my purposes.
You saw a different side of Garnett that I never got to.
You were just lost in the sauce. You just loved everything he was doing.
Like basketball.
Yeah, and he's screaming about your owner now. Now he's all over your boy.
Well, okay, in his defense there, Glenn Taylor is a piece of garbage. Glenn Taylor is garbage.
The honorable Glenn Taylor. You sit there and speak of one of my 30 owners that way. Unless it's Jim Dole. Let's keep moving. Okay.
So, by the way, guys, Hardcourt Hunnies, welcome, Jade, Penny, and we got an awesome guest today, Jason Jackson, who is the sideline reporter of the Miami Heat. Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight. It is greatly appreciated.
The only team that matters.
Oh, here we go.
Right, Jason?
Okay, Jade, you can't talk because that's everything Toronto with you. She can't. Jade, I don't know if you know this. Jade can't stop talking about Toronto. Everything about the Raptors is what the league always needs to do. So,
well, the good thing is that she does have us.
You're a Timberwolves fan, and you can't stop talking about them. I'll take talking about the Raptors
because someone has to.
Jade, have you got your 2,000 in government money yet? You got that? Because that's
I haven't been working too much because I have fibromyalgia. So I did not qualify. But
What?
my roommate is works in essential services, so we're good.
Be good. Stand on guard for thee, baby.
That's damn straight.
Best anthem on the planet. Good Lord. Oh, can't tell him, Jay.
Oh.
They even changed it, right? They even changed the Canadian national anthem to reflect kind of androgynous sexual dynamics, right?
Yeah. Well, and instead of saying because it used to say I don't really do anthems, so I'd have to go through the whole thing.
I'll sing the whole thing. You want me? I'll do it right here.
You gonna Fergie it for us?
Oh, Canada.
There you go.
Did I just go Johnny Math on you all? Our home and native land. I'm trying to figure out where it is. True page. All our sons command.
All our sons command. That's right.
All of our command.
All of us.
All of us. I thought it was our, but I'll take it. Yeah. Oh, Canada.
You were on key. You were on key. That's
perfectly on key.
I'd still listen to that over Fergie.
Oh
no, he didn't.
People got on Fergie. Was that last year? Was that last year at All Star? 2 years ago. And then Chaka Khan this year, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody hates art. Everybody hates art now. Okay. Just because you're a little sharp and a little flat, like it's.
Chaka was just having a bad night. That's.
That wasn't bad. But here's the thing: live in arena, it's never as bad. It's never as bad. I remember looking at my phone. People are killing Fergie. I'm like, I was a little jazzy. Like, what was the problem?
I
didn't help the faces of
I was
players.
one of those few people. I saw it on TV,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't hate Fergie. I just thought it was different and jazzy. It wasn't the worst anthem I've ever heard by a long shot.
All Chaka tried to do was blow the roof off the United Center.
Yeah,
right?
like she always does.
Who among us wouldn't try to do that if you had her voice, right?
Yep.
Exactly. Anywho, I apologize, Taylor.
No, you're good. You're good.
Taylor's supposed to run. To run the show, man.
Sorry. Oh no, man! I'm just here to control everything because they always like to go off on stuff. I'm just here to make sure they're not.
Oh, then I'm a problem.
He tries.
I try at least.
Thank you for having me, guys. Let me first say that.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
The beautiful thing that's happening through all of this agony and separation and pain and death and destruction and trying to find a way in a space that none of us have any experience are these connections, to be able to reach out and exist in a way that either time wouldn't allow or circumstance wouldn't allow, distance wouldn't allow. All of us are learning these platforms so we can stay connected and at least try to fill the void, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which actually kind of gives a segue for just a quick some questions for you. Because of just being stuck inside, how have you been keeping up with the team? Because I know a lot of times you're with the team constantly, getting inside info. How are you able to do that when Jimmy Butler is 10 miles away from you?
Yeah, if it might as well be 10,000. It's been difficult. So I approach this job differently than most, and I approach it differently than when I did 16 years ago. When I first showed up as the television host and courtside reporter for the Miami Heat in 2004, I was the same age as the older players. I was in my mid. No, I was young. I was 32. Yeah, so I wasn't quite. I was still in my early 30s, and so that's where Shaq and Zoe and Shaquille, Christian Laettner. Did I say Shaq and Shaquille like an idiot?
Yes, you did.
My bad. As though there were two different people. And so the elder statesman of the team, I'm like, oh, these are all somewhere from 69 to 73, right? And then a decade passed, right? And now I'm the same age as their dirty uncles, right? And then another half decade passed, and Tyler Hero is younger than my oldest child.
Wow.
I mean, it's by months. It's by months. But
regardless,
the fact, like when Justice Winslow got drafted.
Oh, I miss Winslow.
You like that taco meat? You like that hairy chest? Okay.
Oh, man.
I see how it is. I get it. I missed him too.
Yeah.
But Coach, when he was drafted, that's when it hit me. I was like, he's 3 years older than Justin, who's my oldest son, who's now a junior in college.
Wow.
And so my transition in that space has differed in the way that I associate with them. Whereas when I first showed up and I got a little holler to come out to the club, boom, I'm there. And then for the next decade, it was like, oh, I need to get out of here. I am too old for this. I need to button up 2 more buttons on my shirt and go sit in the lobby, right? Yeah. And then most recently, I don't even bother. I don't want their phone numbers. I barely want to follow them on social media, and I'll just see them at work, right? I am basically your daddy, and I would like that type of respect, okay? Right. But we are coworkers, and so that there's a different connection, but with practices and shoot around and pregame and games and post games and buses and planes and events, like it's enough. Over 9 months, we see each other a great deal. And then if you make the playoffs, it's even more so. And then we'll bump into you at Summer League out in Vegas, right? And then we're back at training camp. Right. So all that being said, our real connection has been in content generation. And so I've seen guys on IG Live or on Zoom more than any place else. And that's not to say I don't have friendly connections with some of our players. That are actual interpersonal friendly, not just work. Hey, my guy, here's this microphone deal. And a lot of our executives with the Miami Heat, as Coach will tell you, are former Miami Heat players. It's just how we get down. The culture is real. And so, you maintain that connection. I know the guys in talking to Coach Spoelstra last week, or maybe about 2 weeks ago, everything's just blending together now.
We don't know the days anymore.
Everything's like Taylor's background. It's a little blurry. So
I made sure it was blurry. No one.
I know you got special trinkets back there. You don't want nobody to see. I get it. I see that CVS bag back there. Be careful. Watch out.
Well, it's not CVS.
My God, Walgreens?
So that's my defense with that. It's not CVS.
Okay.
It's Walgreens.
My man.
There's a difference.
Listen, I understand. But I know what aisle all that's in too. Be careful. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is we've been able to maintain virtual connection very much in this very similar way, providing some content and connection for our fan base.
Okay. And then my next question was just how you change your process during all of it, but you're alley-ooped it to yourself with that one. But so just the main topic that we're going to hit on today, and since Jason, you've been in the business for so long, of just the change of everything that is the NBA that we know it, from the play style to even the fashion trends with it, since that we see that they're forefront of that, and then to even the social issues where we're having players state their minds to the media on not just so much what's going on the court, but what's also going off the court even more often now. So just a little bit of things we're looking at. So we'll just start with the playing style. Just what has been some giant changes that you've seen over the years, Jason?
A total disregard for the mid-range jump shot. Like that has been the biggest thing that I don't hate, right? But I just recognize like it was cool to have like a little mid-range game.
It was
like if stuff was whack in the paint, and everybody had they call it 5 feet, right? At least everybody has 1 foot in the paint defensively. Back before the defensive 3-second rules, it was tough sledding. So while the 3-point shot throughout my childhood came in 80, right? So I was 8 years old, basically until. Let's be real, like, right? I mean, it was a weapon, but it was like a game-altering weapon, and only so many dudes had it.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, I'm doing these remembering the classics for NBA radio, and when I go back and look at some of these box scores from the mid to early 90s, when each team attempted 8 threes, I'm like, what? That's like a dude. That's like one guy. What do you read?
That's James Harden and a half.
Right, exactly. NBA Finals, like bad boys against the Lakers. Like it was like each team went 3 for 8 in one of the big games. I'm like, man, this is such a different deal. But now with the math that's involved, and it's not complicated math, right? 3 more than 2. We can all do that right now. But the efficiency that you have to have in your mid-range game versus at the rim and at 3 are so different that you can't argue the math. It might not be aesthetically pleasing to any of us. I've learned to enjoy it when the ball is moving. Like I love, and this isn't fair. Like, let's be honest, Steph dribbles a lot, right? But there's something about him that's so likable. It doesn't seem like he does. I feel like the ball's just moving. Whereas
that's so true.
Like
Steph dribbling a whole bunch is very different for me than James Harden dribbling a whole bunch.
Why? Because I don't think Steph is trying to trick us.
Yeah,
there's like a trickeration, press the push thing from what Harden's trying to do. Like he once found out working out in this, it's one of those biotech joints out in Santa Barbara, California. You know what he wanted to find out? If he was the fastest stopper.
Wow, that's
Let's
crazy.
Marinate over me for a second. I want to know, and can I get faster at stopping? Well, how is that helpful in a game that has so much movement? Yeah. Because he loves when that defender gets stuck on his hip, right? They've actually tried to legislate this out.
Wow.
Feel it and feel it and feel it. Stop! Bam! Off you go. Now go in.
Then he travels.
That is what my parents hate so much. Yeah. My parents never really watched basketball until I started to. And then my dad will go on some old man rant of being like, well, that shouldn't be allowed like it used to. And I was like, Dad, how do you know? You didn't start watching basketball until 2002.
He dove in. He's checking out isolation numbers.
I always kind of feel like James Harden is trying to reinvent the wheel in ways that are useful to no one. When I think about Steph Curry, the way Steph Curry changed the game, it's affecting the entire game. It's affecting the way kids learn how to play basketball. For Harden, it's once he's gone, when all those things he did, they're gone. No one else is going to do them.
Well, and the thing is that, like you said, it's uniquely catered to his own game, which I give him credit for, right? I mean, he is a scoring champ. He is an MVP. That stuff doesn't just show up on your front door because you want it, right? So he's worked on it.
You complain enough saying you should have won the year before, you might get slided.
Nah, that ain't moving nobody. I promise you right now. That helps in the other direction. So I give him credit for emerging from that third wheel status in OKC, getting his opportunity and making it his opportunity. And honestly, I got to give them credit, him and Westbrook, two guys who do not get a lot of credit for being giving teammates, for making it work better than I thought it was going to. And when they were all asked to play more defense on top of it, they got rid of their defensive coach and then had better defensive numbers. I don't know how that worked, but it is really neat to see someone who tells us all to go bleep ourselves and that he's going to play the way that he's going to play and average 30. So, I mean, and the league is constantly trying to legislate to keep things from being uniquely his. But then he just comes up with something else.
Yeah, but he's not going to win a championship like that.
That's what I was going to say. Do you think he ever wins a ring?
He's not going to win a ring.
Listen, people can win rings, and the times in which they win rings might just be totally different. Somebody wearing a 21 jersey could probably speak to that for us here.
Derek Fisher .4 shot did not count. We would have won the finals that year. We were 3-0 against San Antonio, 3-0 against Detroit that year. We would have had one banner hanging up in the Target Center Rafters.
Yeah, your boy got the MVP that year. That's all you get.
That is our last year of ooh, this is great.
Yeah, we love
and I saw a picture from 2015 14, and our starting lineup was Andre Kirilenko, Luke Ridnour, Nikola Pekovic, Kevin Love, and then this guy Alexei Shved.
Nice.
That was #Cream Team.
Yeah.
That was one of the darkest moments.
Oh, mercy. Well, the light and the light still ain't there. That's the thing. That's the tough part. Yeah. Let's not go there. Let's not go into this. Let's not. I feel like I'm getting to your soul. That's not necessary.
And you know what? Every week, I have been learning to say, whenever I say, what team do you follow? I'll be like, I know they're bad. I start off saying, I know they're bad. I know, but that's how I know I'm a true fan. That through and through.
Yeah, listen, let me tell you something.
I'm going to watch them. I got season tickets to them 2 years ago. Luckily, that was their playoff year. So I got to watch it. We were 31-10 at home. And I think I maybe went to 20 games that year. Won every single one except one.
I love it, dog. That's how you do it. because the game's on Fox. You can sit at home if you wanted to, but I'm glad you don't. As Silvio will tell you, I have 3 glorious championship rings from this NBA franchise that I work for, but I am a Cleveland Browns fan.
Oh God!
You're from Ohio.
You know what? You know my pain then.
So you don't know my pain. So let's take it to that. Okay. I mean, even when we were good, I got screwed out of opportunities. Like it's unbelievable the history of being a Cleveland Browns fan. Like even the Indians World Series opportunity, right? Cavs finally get it all. Ohio State has won national championships in basketball. Sorry, basketball was a long time ago. In football, and I don't have words to describe the pain, the degradation, the monotony, and the malaise that has now come over me. But every fall, that burnt orange and sealed brown is on my back, baby. So I get the deal. I get it.
I thought the Dolphins fans had it bad.
No, come on. Perfect season, maybe the greatest quarterback ever, the winningest coach in the history of the National Football League. Come on,
that was early '90s, and that was what 72.
It happened. I ain't got none of that. But anyway, Jaden, we all know I've got you all over the place now. You were
that's fine.
Harden has an ability to, I think, at some point realize that there's nothing else. Nothing else matters. He's not there yet, but he'll get there. Nothing else matters but the championship. And that for there to be a championship, he is going to have to sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's going to have to change.
I feel like he's only got a season to 3 left to figure that out. Otherwise, it's going to be too late.
He plays an old man game, so I don't know. He might be 70 years old out here.
Still trying to win a championship.
Whop! Just that.
And he makes it.
Oh, it's always going to be a make. I mean, that's the thing. The man can shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why can't we up the dribble? Why can't it be, can I get a catch and shoot? It's just bop, 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 bop. I'm like, I even made the joke once. I said, you know why he's such a great shooter? It's because the ball turns into a volleyball while he's dribbling it. The air gets out of it, and his hands are dominating. It's the least aesthetically pleasing basketball I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
And I watch old videos of like Bob Cousy dribbling with a hand tied behind his back, right, in circles,
and pushing the ball forward,
pushing it forward like there's a yo-yo string on it. Like that stuff is like you're watching a gag reel, and then you see this stuff, and it just a Rockets fan will come in here and cuss us out, right?
Oh, definitely.
We've got people in Belly Up who Penny and I get in these debates with because they don't understand the concept that just because he scores lots of points doesn't make him entertaining for us to watch. They feel like those two things should be mutually exclusive, and they cannot understand our point that we're like, yeah, we understand he scores lots of points and give him credit for that, but I am so bored watching Rockets games. Like, they cannot hold my attention.
It's tough. It's part of it. I mean, listen, the commissioner stands every year in front of us during our league meetings and reminds us, oh, this is entertainment. And part of entertainment is being entertaining. Just like there is a pizzazz and a wow factor that comes into this that can get lost because, no offense, coaches on this particular platform, you all are crazy people, okay? And the agony at which you take in losing and the lack of joy you allow yourself when you win just squeezes all of the happiness out of it. I don't get why you all even interest yourselves in this space, but I do understand challenge, and I do understand competition, and getting the joy of getting a collective group to come together and try to find that harmonic space that gets you to a championship. So I believe that that's available for Harden, but a lot of stuff will have to change.
Yeah.
As we talk about the giant changes, swing it back up. What are some subtle ones, Jade, that have changed over the years? Just subtle changes that maybe are going to get overlooked by the casual NBA fan or basketball fan, but when you look at the advanced statistics or whatever, you're looking deep, has something that's really affected it, even if it's not on the big main picture?
That's hard. That's a hard question for me because it feels like all the changes have been pretty big over time. The analytics thing changed things huge. And it would seem like some of that stuff is small. And I don't know if it's maybe just because I am so into basketball that I have a hard time seeing it from a casual fan's point of view. I think maybe something a casual fan might not be clued in on is how big dribble handoffs are in the game now, how important they are, and the need for them to be better officiated the way that they're being done right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think it's because you want more illegal screens called, or
yeah?
What do you? Okay, yeah, because that's the thing that pops out to me some nights is that I'm not surprised. Sylvia, and you probably see this as much as I do. I'm not surprised when our guys are called for it, and I'm surprised it's not called more often because the dribble handoff does kind of shield that it's a screen at all because you've asked your big for the most part to be a ball handler / facilitator. And so a point guard wouldn't be called for that if they were, in space handing the ball off. But there is, to a really good dribble handoff, a mixture of the pass and a screen that's occurring in that space. And oftentimes feet are all wide, shoulders are getting swung. And
there's leaning happening.
The leaning,
Whenever I think of the moving screen, I just think the king of that of all time was Kevin Garnett. Plant the foot and then swing the hip out and then just take out the leg of the other guy. I will always admit, Garnett was the king, was the OG of the moving screen. He would go up to the top, set the pick, hip check someone, roll to the free throw line, hit the mid range.
So good. if you can sneak it in, you're creating space, right? And that's all you want to get for a good look. The one thing I'll inject into this, Taylor, for that is I don't know if everybody realizes about 2 years ago, the officials started officiating offense first for the first time ever. That everything from an officiating standpoint was always defense out. That I'm going to work on the defender, make sure that it keeps the game fluid, and in many ways it's not the purpose of the official, but the purpose of the legislation is that people like to see scoring. Let's keep an eye on this because our boy Patrick James Riley changed the game in New York. Boy, he mucked this sucker up, man. They call it playing in the mud. Well, he did that to the NBA Finals, right, with that crew. And so
that part of it makes me a little bit sad on the one hand because I feel I was a defensive player when I played. Mm-hmm. I took a lot of pride in my defense. And that shift in the way that the league has gone, I get it, and it makes sense. But that, is one of those things. That's for casual fans. That's not for, basketball purists because there's nothing better than somebody scoring off of really a well-contested shot rather than just scoring because
the gratification of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you'll feel better now because the last couple of years it has shifted the other way, and there is a focus on it really is. I know you guys might laugh, but it's traveling first. If you look at the data, they are calling traveling more. And it's people getting away with that first step. That one where they don't.
That quick first step that they don't count.
If you can just play lacrosse out here, we're going. It's all good, right? But
that obvious LeBron walk. He dribbled and he walked.
Oh, yep, that
right
was
in front of the referee.
So you ain't gonna get me to talk bad about LeBron James.
I talk bad about LeBron. He travels all the time and gets.
He's got a personal connection. You can say
how much money that man made me. Good God,
Get you a ring.
LeBron can come back right now.
LeBron is 2 texts away from contacting Jason. He's just got to call up D Wade. And then there's going to be a way for it. No, we gotta make sure we're looking out for Jason here. We don't want LeBron on him.
I got so many bills, Taylor. It's ridiculous. But yeah, keep an eye on that officiating. It's shifted a couple years, and it's a nuanced thing that you just wouldn't see in a regular game. By the way, Jade, you get into this purist thing. You basketball purists are gonna you'll drive us into bankruptcy. Okay, so we need all these casual fans to show up. Okay, because this is
I totally get that.
multi-billion-dollar business, and I keep it that way.
I like to keep it that way.
Trust me, I totally get the business side of it. I can appreciate both points of view. There are just things that I miss.
Smart basketball people.
I do. I miss it too. I miss the defensive side of the NBA.
Do you though? Really?
Like I do. I personally do.
I'll take moments. Like I'll take defensive stops within a run, but come on, like really, you hate a game with 141 points in it. You're like, oh my god. Blah.
I do. I do.
What if it's like a double OT game and it hits that 141?
That's different. That's 10 extra minutes.
I love the ball going through the. You know what I hear when the ball goes through the net? Schwackums. That's the sound I hear when the net snaps. Oh, snaps that leather the right way.
Don't get me wrong. I love that sound too. String music is the best, but I like them to have to work for it.
Yeah.
It's just lazy defense.
It can. You know what? Byron Scott said this to me once. Name drop. That you have to spend so much time coaching the AAU out of players.
Oh God.
That you barely spend any time on defense. They're doing so many things wrong and selfishly offensively.
Right.
When they come into the game, it can take over practices. And if you have a really young team, then you're absolutely belabored by it. Yeah. You know, that's all you're dealing with. We're very fortunate in the Heat culture that defense is the way you get on the floor. Like you can't play for Eric Spoelstra if you cannot defend. And it's gotten better in the sense of it has to be defend within yourself. You may just not have, super quick feet, or you may not have a skill set that's best suited for lockdown, tenacious defense. But everybody can defend within the system. Yeah. Everybody can go and follow a guy if he's off, going to blitz, as they call in our terminology. But if you're just going to double team, really far away as a big on the ball carrier, you got to trust that somebody's covering your space and trust that you'll be evaluated properly and won't get chewed because you're not, getting back.
Right.
Because there's a no man's land to that you have to trust your teammates on. So I think, maybe just, Jade, it's an affiliation change. Maybe you should be a Heat fan and you'll, get more.
Right. The Raptors are a defensive team first, too. That's why my favorite teams are Raptors.
There we go.
All right, champ. I got you. I'm going to get you over my side. I guess it ain't happening.
Well, speaking of exciting, like the play style, how about exciting of the fashion of today? Penny, since you're such a 90s fan, thinking about what players are wearing before the games going then to what they're doing now, did you see something? And keep in mind, David Stern put in a dress code in 2001-ish, something like that.
2000s, yeah.
So, did you think Stern was going to see the style change like that of like Russell Westbrook wearing a perfectly square sweatshirt with skinny jeans and then cowboy boots on? Like, how does that fit in on not being a violation of the code?
I don't think he ever in his life will ever see that coming. He saw a slight change with big suits, big jeans.
Those are big suits.
Yeah, those hilarious.
With the shoulder pads for days.
And all the buttons.
Yep. And definitely the fashion got him better. But I don't think he saw what Westbrook is wearing now. That's
when you think back to the mid to late 90s, and I'm not going to blame Allen Iverson, but we're going to blame Allen Iverson.
I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go there.
The Allen Iverson documentary. They pretty much were like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I've had so many people's respect because he represented kind of the hip-hop culture within the NBA. And other guys had the same origin and what have you, but he was the star that owned that. And even guys in that class of 96 started to move away from, kind of a clean button-up look to have a little bit more of and I'll say specifically, West Coast hip-hop look, which is crazy because he's from Newport News, Virginia. So it was an interesting just kind of amalgamation of the culture look at that time. And it had gotten sideways. I'm going to sit here and tell you, as a professional covering the league, it looked unprofessional. And one thing about being a professional athlete, I think you got to change. You don't understand how much you are a steward of your game until you become a pro. And you're serious about being a pro, because what you start seeing is yourself on ballparks, in gyms all over the country. And Iverson captured everyone's imagination because he wasn't larger than life. 5'10". For real, 5'10".
I'm taller than him.
Wow.
I'm taller than him.
And rocked Michael Jordan to sleep twice, right? Rocked him to sleep, right? Now, Mike had been away playing baseball for a little while, but if you're going to come back and put the jersey on, and he hits you with the pat. Woo! So what he had become to represent was almost a counterculture within the culture. And what David Stern was concerned of, that he actually ushered the league from before, is we have a league that is predominantly black. Not just predominantly black, but male black. And that can be threatening for Madison Avenue. That can be threatening for the casual fan, Jay, you were talking about earlier, because they don't experience that. That the typical white family that can afford 4 tickets and go to a game, it wasn't a part of the marketing plan.
Yeah.
And the residual effect immediately after the pushback was glorious. Like, while the suits were big, they were still suits. Yeah. And then guys started competing in that space. Commissioner Silver has a little bit more elasticity in that space. Yeah. And if you start looking at the rules, they're still fitting designer jeans. Okay. All right. The designer jeans just have holes in them now. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can roll in the arena differently than you have to sit on the bench. If you sit on the bench, you have to have a jacket on, the whole bit. That stuff, none of that's changed. You got more guys staying in the back when they're not playing on nights that they're, that wasn't necessarily playing. Right. But it was a tough time to land on the side of establishment in that place. But $5 billion later, you see
it's worth it.
Vision was. It was that. Listen, he's a champion. The departed Commissioner Stern, a champion of equality, champion of fairness.
Yep.
But when you're running a business like that, knowing full well the importance of marketing, sponsorship dollars, and how sometimes you need to hit the middle of the road on that stuff, a few players, a handful of players over my time have been able to get outside of the box of the other 450 players and be prominent spokespersons for products. If that's not important to you, cool. Let it be. You go to pay the fine. The old Derek Coleman rule. Larry Brown was the head coach of the Nets. Derek Coleman was told, wait, there's a dress code? He's like, yeah, you got to wear a tie. He said, what's the fine? And he told him the fine, and Derek Coleman wrote a check for the whole year.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
You know what? Why not? That's such a baller move right there. Oh, you're gonna find me this much this year?
Yeah, times 82.
I got it up front for you.
Yeah, no doubt.
The interesting thing to me about the dress code is I think it trickled down to the players in ways that, while at the time it might have felt a bit stuffy, I think some of them have benefited from it in ways they wouldn't possibly have thought of, because how many players had their own clothing lines, right? It created an awareness of an opportunity that they could take advantage of let me really brand myself. And that just created more money for the players, even though the pushback at the time, I get it. But those that were outside of the box thinking enough, there was an opportunity there that I think a lot of them have taken advantage of.
It felt super oppressive at the time. It really felt heavy-handed, old white men telling young black men how to dress. It was sensitive. I think Commissioner Stern was aware of it, but I don't disagree with the results, and I don't disagree with there comes a point when you got to be a pro.
Yeah.
That you lay down childish things, and as an adult, while you want to have some creativity, you're playing in an association. There are other places to play. You can wear whatever you want down to the Y, right? Right? You can go ask the Spanish league what you can wear, right?
Yeah, when they're making that much money, it doesn't really seem like that much to ask. Yeah. Right? Like anytime you have a job where you make money, there are things that come with it.
That we all have to deal with. You would see. So I try to fight that the money doesn't take away your humanity. Like, you're still a human and you're fallible. And these guys are superhuman and they wear pajamas and they run around on hardwood. So we all kind of lose any sense of their regularity, right? That they are fathers or they are sons, and that there are dynamics in their lives that may pull them away from the floor. People flipped out when Dwayne went on paternity leave. They flipped out when
that was crazy.
Like, no, it's beautiful. Like, we're advancing. We're advancing our thinking about at the birth or the arrival of a child. Why aren't both parents there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or why can't mom split and do what she needs to do after her body gets together and dad hang around?
That's what happened with me.
Yeah, God bless you. It's the best, right?
Went back to work. Dad watched me growing up.
There it is, man. I got forced into it. I didn't have a job, so I sat around with my second child for a year, and because of it, listen, it's a different relationship, but I feel like he's been a child for 28 years. Like, it's a longer, thicker, and that's just an indictment on my relationship with my oldest son, because I think it's wonderful, but it's different because of those early days together with the diapers and the crying and the food and the whatnot. Oh my God, when's mama coming home? Where's she at though?
See, I was daddy's little boy with this, so we never had to worry about that. I could always go to him, and I got that.
I love it.
But switching over some gears to it, so talk about the style, fashion, which is always fun and funny considering what they wear. Go to a little bit of a serious thing. So we're talking about the social issues with it. A lot of players, like I said before, taking it into their own hands to point out some issues that are going on in the world today that need to be more focused upon. Are some players that I think are LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo, Chris Paul. They did their stuff. But back in the day, I mean, this is just since I'm only 27, only player I can really think of being that social justice warrior would have been like Bill Russell, early Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because they were there for the civil rights movement and everything like that.
Yeah, you're on point.
But I'm thinking of, like, say, players like Charles Barkley. When he was in his prime, he had his motto with Reebok, "I am not a role model." So what is the difference, Jade, of the mentality of, say, players right here, players nowadays voicing their opinions out more compared to in the 90s or something like that, where it was more just my mind's in basketball?
Yeah, I think part of it is touch on the point Jason made about how collectively as fans we take away some of their humanity. I've always been very much on the other side of that argument, and when people are like, oh, they shouldn't talk, I'm the first one to be like, you need to shut up because you don't know what you're talking about. But they're people too. They deal with all the same stuff that everybody else deals with, right? Being the challenges of being a Black man in the United States. That's a huge portion of the league. So why shouldn't they be talking about it just because we pay them to play basketball? Like, it's their fault that we pay them millions of dollars to play basketball. I don't understand people's indignation over the fact that they feel that they have a right to have opinions about social issues, because of course they do.
Is it, Jason, is it more important today for the players to get involved with things that are going on, or back in the days of the 80s, 70s, 60s and stuff, where would you say today it's more necessary, or back then it was something more at need?
Well, back then it was far more impactful. The issues that we were dealing with, we're not dealing with much different in the sense of the things that flare up. Things are a little more covert, and so there was something to be said about stuff just kind of being out in your face and being able to call it out and saying what it is. Now it's a hell of a lot easier, right? So why wouldn't you? You know, to be able to frame your message the way you want to frame it on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, what have you, I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Now, I still want people to step up to my microphone and let me know what's on their mind. But the fact that players can do it, Players Tribune, another place, if you like the written word, where the editing is at their disposal. And so we're in a space right now. Now I got to preach for a second. We're in a space right now where we have to crush the normality of indignation. We have to crush the normality of saying whatever's on top of your mind. We have to crush the normality that's in place, radiating from our highest levels of leadership, that you can misrepresent things and try to make it the truth. And so to have guys that have their own flamethrowers, right, their own message streams that they can get out there and impact people with how to uplift communities through education, health, focus, and welfare. When we get on the other side of this virus, we have a dedication, a responsibility that hopefully turns into a dedication within the African American community to deal with the massive gap of health disparity as that's happening in the sense of education, awareness, on top of fighting these diseases that are just impacting our community at a level that is far more devastating than we can even imagine, and is connecting to deaths and the percentage rates of that with this particular virus. The predisposition that comes from diabetes, obesity, imbalanced diet is devastating and real and can be eradicated in our space with just a little bit of attention. And so the fact that this is a direct community issue, a direct culture issue, I think that we're going to hear a great deal of that message coming out from our league's players because of their commitment to physical fitness, with their body being their business.
Right.
Yeah. The preach session right there.
I tried to wrap it up. I didn't want to collect any money, you know. Around here, charge y'all for my insight.
Yeah.
Well, so we get that social issue there. Jason, fans are gonna be wondering for sure. We gotta talk about the Miami Heat Big Three. You were there the entire time. I know you probably get all these questions all the time.
Okay.
But
That's what I'm here for.
Fans want to know. Okay, so looking through highlights of you dealing with the photo bombs of those guys, how did you anticipate those? Because I know it wasn't every game, but like, say you're interviewing Dwayne Wade, you know there's like a 60% chance that Chris Bosh is just going to stand right in front of the camera and look.
Those were the best.
So like, how would you in your head prepare yourself to be like, okay, someone's going to be pouring water on someone, or someone's going to walk right in front of me in the interview?
Two things had to always be at play. Number one, peripheral vision. That was my greatest asset.
Head on a swivel.
Being perfectly aware of at least 290 degrees of my circle. You know, we call it the winner's circle.
Winner's circle.
After the game, in line with the champions of horse races, and the circle would sometimes have a cartwheel in it, or a wheelbarrow, or
the wheelbarrow,
video Bosh, or guys taking over the microphone. There was one night Dwayne was injured he's wearing this beautiful white suit. Oh, it was glorious.
Yep.
I remember that.
Over the entire interview, and he's interviewing LeBron, which leads me to my second point. And Chris Bosh drapes a towel between them and ends up doing a little karate chop.
Yeah.
It's the traditional Japanese bow and heads out. Get out of the way. That was my other thing in my head. Let it all happen. There was one night Dwayne and LeBron are injured. Dwayne wearing these tight leather pants in Portland, Oregon.
Was it Chris Bosh made the three-pointer to win it?
He made the three to win on the road in Portland. And during the interview, they start doing, this is for your older listeners, they start doing the James Brown cape move, okay? So James Brown, when he would have a show, he'd act like he had just had too much. He can't do anymore. And one of his stage hands would come and put this cape on him, and then he'd jump back, and he'd get back up and do another half hour of a show. So they tried to put the cape on Bosch, and he walked it out like he was James Brown, then blew it up. It was phenomenal, man. And that was going to take a minute, and I was going to have to do play-by-play on what was happening because I had to be under the assumption not everybody knew about the cape gag from James Brown shows.
Exactly. Yeah, I hope everyone knows.
Yeah, I remember screaming, put the cape on him. Like I'm screaming, like I'm crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what a night. What a night.
And then, so out of those three, who was the most entertaining to interview with?
Chris Bosh.
I was going to say that. Has to be Chris Bosh.
He's my favorite interview of any athlete I've ever interviewed in my 30 years in broadcasting. And I'll tell you why. And it's, again, not crushing Dwayne and LeBron. They're awesome, thoughtful veterans who knew the game each night at a high level and were great getting you ready and great with reaction. So there was a next level with Chris where he was really listening to your question. Like you needed to come with a serious thought. And if your thought wasn't cohesive or connected, because sometimes we can ask questions that aren't really questions. They're just statements that you're hopefully leading your subject to. And Dwayne,
what I do
were key. they were key monsters in that play. Almost like drop a quarter in the jukebox and they'll play the hit for you, right? Whereas Chris was looking for an exchange. That he was thoughtful and original in every response, even when the same question was being asked. I marveled at it, loved it, love him for it.
Oh, I loved his voice. He did some work during the Raptors run on the broadcasts last year. I listened to him talk forever.
So unique. He has a great pacing.
Yeah.
Super voice, quirky as all get out.
Yeah.
But fun and funny and super knowledgeable about this game. He's television gold. I don't know what he's waiting
yeah.
I was about to say, is he one of the next new NBA broadcasters that we should be looking out for?
I'd love it. I don't know if he's ready. You know, guys realize, like, let me just take some time not to, like, to be around it for a minute. And then they miss it. And then they can find a way in. And it's, you know, obviously for the guys who don't want to be in front offices or coaching. What you'll find with Chris is he would then have to try to find the equilibrium between deep dive into basketball right in front of us and being super smart and entertaining. And so I think he'd find it, but initially we're probably getting one or the other too much, and then he'd find his way. I'd love to have him. Love to have him.
Okay.
Because he's going to be expensive. So.
Yeah.
I do, Jason, I do miss Coach Tony.
Oh, yeah.
As an analyst.
I bet. No, Tony had become like our favorite uncle who would say anything, and you couldn't wait to get around him because you had no idea if he was going to cuss in front of your grandmama, right? Yes. Like you're just man, Tony was such a great coach, like just we called him the coach because man, he would coach crossword puzzles, man. Like it didn't matter what we were doing. Like he is a life coach. So good to my sons, man. Like when I think about somebody, when I'm done with this career, I think I'll do this for about 30 years and then, you know, quit bothering
30
y'all.
more. Yeah,
it ain't gonna be that. I'm saving this money to spend it. But I'm going to remember Tony most, and I'm not writing his eulogy or anything. I'm just talking about when I look back on my career, or how authentic he was to the Heat family moniker. We say it a great deal, and it comes down from the Harrison family that has owned this franchise for 3 generations. And the Rileys embody it and uplift it as well. And Eric Spoelstra is a great spokesperson for it, as he's become a family man himself in the last 3 years. And there are times in your life, we talked about, you know, the players being regular, but I've had a parent pass away. I've had grandparents pass away. You have your own, you know, personal illness stuff or personal stuff you got to deal with. And this organization has never missed a beat in those spaces. Every workplace becomes work. Every boss gets on your nerves. But when rubber has hit the road, and I've needed that organization to be more than it needed to be for me, been there every single time. And Tony embodied it by always being there to be inclusive with my sons, always making sure they were at camp. My oldest son worked for him when he was 18 at
I worked
camp.
for him. I worked for him at the heat camp.
There you go. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And listen, Tony will wear you out with a story, but in that story is something that you need. Like you need some part of that story. He was a high school teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. And a great baseball coach in the greater New York area, as well as one of the great basketball coaches ever. And then got this great opportunity with Ron Rothstein as two former New York area high school coaches come together with the Heat. And Tony was smart, man. He never left. Ron tried to run around, but coach was like, I ain't never leaving this place, boy.
Yeah.
And always making our mothers feel inclusive. I think my mother has a crush on him. Matter of fact, I know my wife's mother does. So it's nuts, boy. They love Tony. Tony got that Italiano slick, boy. He put it on.
He does. He sure does.
Like, hey, mom, hey. Get your eyes up here, lady. Eyes up here. So that's one of my favorite dudes ever.
Yeah, I miss him.
Okay, so one last question. So the big three had that four-year title run. What was it like witnessing firsthand of LeBron winning his first one, Chris Bosh winning his first one? Just what was it like just being there for every moment of their amazing run?
As I noted earlier, financially lucrative. That's how it was. So good. I can't even appear. We made so much money. It was ridiculous. Oh man. So anyway, it was just glorious how many games we played. We played in the end 81 playoff games in those 4 years. So we literally got paid for and played another season in those 4 years. But let's get out of my pocket for a second. The money's nice, but what was really, really strong was every single night watching a group that made them boo, make them say ooh, and then
I saw a post on Facebook from the memory saying, I got to admit, I love watching the Miami Heat. It was from 2012. I was like, I love watching this team. They don't come together, but I love watching them. Chris Bosh has always been a favorite player of mine, so
he's hard not to for. But for whatever reason, people have this high level of disdain for LeBron and his greatness. I don't know, is it because we met him so young or what? But he fit the bill. Like, cool, like chosen ones a lot, right? In 10th grade. And was that what that Sports Illustrated cover said? Yep. Back in, I think it was 2001, 2002. He was a sophomore, junior in high school in Akron. The chosen one. What?
Yep.
Are you kidding me? What the hell?
How many times has someone been called that?
And lived up to it. I wrote an article about that a few months back about how ESPN was televising his games in high school, and the first ESPN broadcast had all the greats on the opening credits.
Right.
For this high school kid playing, but then he showed out. Like, he scored, I can't remember how many, 21 or 31 points in that game. And then every single thing he's done along the way has been in line with that. And like, that just never happens. And he's not my favorite player. I don't love his basketball persona, but I can feel that way and still be like, he's done things that who else has been able to do what he's done?
If he does this thing, right, and gets this title in Los Angeles for a third franchise, good night.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's in Los Angeles for Space Jam 2. We've discussed this in other podcasts. That's why he showed up.
Well, if by accident he trips into another title.
Space Jam 2.
But that's the thing with LeBron. That was the premise of that article, was that if we think back on his career, there was no place for him to end up but LA with the Lakers.
Because he Clippers.
he's always had this flair for the dramatic. Like, he turned free agency into an event like no player has ever done before. And it's changed free agency for everybody ever since then.
Yeah.
Right? Hollywood was the only place for LeBron to end up.
I feel like you don't mean that in a nice way, but you're making it sound.
Probably not.
There might be something to that.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, no, it was like being. I can only imagine if I could talk to someone who traveled with the Stones or traveled with the Beatles in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was like that. That night in Cleveland, and I didn't go. I wasn't there. It was a Turner-only game, and it was one game road trip when the team back in December of 2010 went back to Cleveland for the very first time when LeBron was a member of the Miami Heat. And I didn't recognize those fans. I didn't recognize that feeling, that anger, that vitriol. I spent 10 winters in that town as a child. I felt like I knew what that fan base was about. That was disgusting. Like, to have that level of just vile reaction to someone because they play somewhere else. Like, it's just too much, man. But that speaks about his power on you. We didn't love it when he left here. We didn't get ignorant, you know?
Yeah, we didn't get ignorant at all.
We didn't get ignorant, but who hate? I mean, like, I just bask myself in the memory of what we just experienced, you know?
Right. That's what you got to realize. Yeah.
That's it. Like, in real life.
Greatness for a couple of years. You got to be lucky with it.
Man, if I gave you a half of one of those seasons in the Land of Lakes, you take that thing, you swim in at least 5,000 and 10,000 lakes, wouldn't you? Just for a half of one of those seasons.
Oh, yeah. I'll take a 41-win season. That's all I need. Just give me 50%, and then I'm good.
Wow.
I just want that.
I know we're wrapping up, but I look forward to your ball club. First of all, I love your head coach because I loved his daddy. Like, loved his daddy. What a
I went to his basketball camp, and he said he witnessed me playing one day, and I was like, what? I did a nice drop step up and under move, and he witnessed it, and he told me when he was signing a basketball and a jersey, he's like, you were the guy that did the up and under the other day, right? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I really like that move. That was really clean. And I was like, oh, my God. 13-year-old Taylor was freaking out.
He's from Chagrin Falls, Ohio. Go look where that is.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is also in Northeast Ohio. LeBron James, yours truly, Flip Saunders. Come on, connect the dots. Can you feel the love?
Oh, yeah. I know. I've done a full, at one of the other sites I used to write for, I did a full article on Flip Saunders because then he played at the U, and then he coached at a junior college in the Twin Cities, and then he ended up in another college in Minnesota, and then he got the Timberwolves gig.
Hold on one second. I have to tell. Hey, honey, the folks in Minnesota call their university the U as well. That's hilarious. That's phenomenal. My wife works at the U.
The Miami.
Yeah, we go to the
University of Miami. Yeah, put it up on him. Yeah. He said the U. I'm like, no. Flip went to Minnesota. And I'm saying in my head, oh, that's what they call the University of Minnesota up there.
Yeah.
Like, it was a process in my mind while you're telling the story.
He played with Kevin McHale and Michael Thompson.
Yeah.
We were good then.
She over here screaming in the background, there's only one U.
There's only one U. She's right. She's right.
It's great. To be a Miami Hurricane. It's great. Yeah, they got the chance, kid.
Yep.
Hey, guys, I really appreciate it. This was fun. You guys have me back sometime?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, so just one more thing. We have this thing called Fast Break at the end, Jason, which is
cool.
quick questions. We just fire them off.
Cool.
So, actually, Jade, quick plug for the All-Star voting for the ERSCA iRacing League.
So, Belly Up is big involved in an iRacing league, the ERSCA. The All-Star race is going to be in May. The All-Star voting is live, so head over to the bellyupsports.com. You can vote. There are 4 brackets. Vote for your favorite racers, and Hardcourt Hunnies is one of the sponsors for that race. So make sure you get your votes in. Voting lasts until May 10th.
Okay.
And if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. Let's go. Spray some paint up in that third turn. Let's go.
Okay, so starting off with the fast break. start with you, Jason. So we're also taking all team bias out of the picture. This is just you being strictly fan. Favorite team over the past 10 years?
The past 10 years, I've been employed by the Miami Heat. Or
take out Miami Heat. Think about any of the teams.
I? 3 titles. Like I guess I can't. The 2 titles in the last 10. If it's not the Heat, you want me to take the Heat out, then it would be the Warriors. It would be. I just didn't enjoy them fulfilling what Mark Jackson was already telling us, and he did not get a chance to see to fruition. He was letting us know, and we all looked at him like he was crazy. That we were looking at 2 of the greatest shooters of not 2 of the 2 greatest shooters of all time, and they're proving that they may very well be 1 and 2 when it's all done.
Mm-hmm. Jade, your favorite team of the past 10 years?
Since I can't choose the Raptors, mine is the Warriors too. I love Steph Curry. Love him.
Penny, what's your favorite?
I don't even know what to say besides the Heat. That's a hard one.
It's called abstain. I abstain, Your Honor.
So I think we got 3 Warriors right now, because I've been a Warriors fan since 05, 06. Corey Maggette, all of them there too. So I go Warriors with it. Okay, second question. Jade, favorite team from 2009 and earlier?
Anywhere earlier?
Anywhere earlier.
Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. Okay. Jason, what's yours?
Oh, I'm Showtime Lakers. That's how I grew up loving this game. Yeah.
All right, and Penny.
I have to say the Pacers, Indiana Pacers.
Pacers?
Yep.
Okay, good choice. And the last one. Who would win between your 2 favorite teams or 2 favorite franchises of that? Penny, who would win? Your Miami Heat or those Pacers?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh my God.
Yeah,
you
I
thought this through, didn't you? You thought this through, Taylor.
I did.
I'm gonna have to
I had to go through a couple ideas. I had to scrap through a couple ideas for this one.
I'm gonna have to say the Pacers because they were aggressive. They were very aggressive early on.
You hurt my
that was hard. That was a tough one.
Jade, who would win for you? Warriors or the Pistons? 2 polar opposites.
I know, that's what I was trying to think it through. It's hard because there's no way that Warriors team could match up with the Pistons' physicality, but the Warriors would shoot lights out. Yeah. They wouldn't even have to play down low against the Pistons.
No.
I think I'd give it to the Warriors.
Give it to the Warriors?
Oh, yeah.
And Jason, since you are our guest for the week, who would you have? Lakers or the Warriors?
I'm going to take Showtime Lakers.
Showtime Lakers?
And I'm going to lose. I'm fine with that, right? Because I recently watched some old video of those 80s Lakers, and I thought, oh my God, ain't no team can run with my crew. They look like they're running in molasses. I was a child, and they were just moving faster than the teams they were playing. But the pace and speed at which these teams go with now, I think Magic would come on here and tell you, like, they would just have to throw the ball into Kareem all night, and he'd have to dunk and get and ones and hope that he scored, 110 points. Like, just because these guys and their ability to light up the scoreboard is unprecedented.
Okay, there we go.
You got props for that question, Taylor. That was well done.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Wow. I can't believe I picked the Pacers over the Heat.
Yeah.
All right.
That's throw up you taste in your own mouth, by the way. I want you to know that. Terrible.
So thanks so much for coming, Jason. Got anything to plug before we call it a night?
Hey, listen, it's going to change, but I've been playing this game we play with our players. We call it Hot Seconds with Jax. And we play it on Instagram on nights where the Heat wouldn't have had games. Well, the season is coming to a close. So just follow me on Instagram. My handle is Heat Host, shockingly. And we play. It's probably going to be one night a week. I haven't decided which night, but we're going to play on this coming Wednesday, which as we tape this will be the 15th of April. And it's a fun, free stuff experience. So you come, you answer questions. The clock is ticking. It drives you nuts. People think they get really cocky. They don't know that 24-second clock will get you, boy.
Yeah, I see that.
Hot Seconds with Jax. Come and play.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Get that, listeners. Hot Seconds with Jax. Okay, well, fun time this week talking about the history, changing back and forth. Unless Jade and Penny, you got anything to say, I think we're gonna do a wrap up for today.
Just thank you, Jackson, for coming on board.
Thanks for coming on. That was awesome.
Promise I could come back. That's awesome.
Okay, well, see you guys later, Hardcourt Hunting listeners.